Asparagus hits the market every spring, and honestly, it's one of my favorite vegetables. As a fresh food educator, I've spent my fair share helping everyday cooks get the most out of seasonal produce. And asparagus, well, I see people walk right past it because they're not sure how to pick it, store it, or cook it without turning it into an overcooked mess. Today, we're fixing all of that. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to pick the best bunch, store it so it actually stays fresh, prep and cook it every which way, and I'm throwing in plenty of facts and recipe ideas. Let's go. Let's start at the store because how you pick asparagus makes a real difference between what ends up on your plate. First thing I look for is the tips. They should be tight and firm and compact, almost like a closed flower bud. If they're starting to open up or look feathery, that bunch has been sitting too long. Next, check the cut ends. If they're too dried out at the store, they're already starting to lose moisture. So fresh is best, even on the cut ends. And the stalks themselves, well, you want them firm and upright, not loose and limp. Now, what about thick versus thin? Here's the part that most people misunderstand. Many people assume that thin asparagus is more tender, and I get it. It looks more delicate, but here's what's actually happening inside the stalk. This might just change how you shop for asparagus. Every asparagus has two parts, the outer skin and the white juicy core called the pith. With thin spears, each bite gives you a higher ratio of skin to core, and the skin is where most of the lignin lives. That's the fibrous woody compound that gives asparagus its structure. More lignin per bite means thin asparagus can actually feel more stringy and fibrous than you'd expect. Let me show you. Let's slice an asparagus in half. Let me try a thin one. See the difference? The thin spear is mostly skin. The thick spear, look at that white, juicy center. That core is what makes thick asparagus taste meaty and succulent. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love thin asparagus. I mean, it's great for eating raw, adding to salads, steaming, or stir frying. But if I want a more tender and substantial bite, I go for the thick stalks. One more tip about the thick stalks. To get that tenderness all the way down to the bottom, it's a good idea to peel the bottom third of your thick stalk. Now that's a pro move. And one last thing on selection. When you're buying, buy a bunch that's roughly the same size, either this or this. If you're cooking a mix of thick and thin, the thin ones will be done and overcooked before the thick ones even get started. So consistent sizing means consistent cooking. Now that you've got a great bunch, let's keep it that way. The single best thing you can do for fresh asparagus is to treat it like a bouquet of flowers. And that means a vase. Okay, a jar is fine. Before you put it in your vase, trim the bottoms. By trimming about 1/2 inch off the bottom, you freshen up the spears so that they can actually absorb the water. Stand them upright in a vase or glass or jar with about 1 inch of cold water on the bottom. Take a nice little shower cap and put it on top to keep the tops from drying out. To avoid any potential spills, you can also wrap a damp cloth around the bottom of the stems and place in a plastic bag. Leave it loose and allow for a little bit of air circulation. Stored this way, your asparagus will stay crisp and fresh for 5 to 7 days. Now, what if you happen to forget your asparagus and it's already looking a little sad and limp? Don't throw it out. You can revive it. Simply do this. You want to cut 1/2 inch off the bottom to remove any of the dry ends. Stand the spears straight up in a glass of cold water, cover the tops, and pop them in the fridge. Now here's a little bonus trick. Asparagus, as it's sitting in your fridge, loses a little bit of sweetness. If you want to bring a little of that sweetness back, stir in a teaspoon of powdered sugar into the cold water. Powdered sugar just helps it dissolve faster. The sugar is totally optional. The cold water is not. Before you cook, you need to prepare your asparagus. And the big question always is, do you snap or do you cut the ends? So the theory is that you should just bend your asparagus and it will snap off. Now, whoa, that's a lot of asparagus to snap off. And some of that is still quite tender. So really what you want is to remove this really tough stuff on the bottom. That's the part we want to cut off. So if you want to save more of your asparagus, line them up at the bottom. I want to take about this much off, and that's where I want to cut. And I haven't wasted a ton of asparagus. Now let's get into some fun facts, because asparagus truly is fascinating. First off, if you notice a little bit of purple on your green asparagus, that's totally a-okay. It actually is a sign of freshness. If you find all purple asparagus, you should definitely give it a try. Cook it just like your green asparagus, and you might even find it's a little sweeter than the green stuff. What about white asparagus? Well, white asparagus is the same plant, but it's a different growing method. White asparagus is grown under mounds of soil covered to block all sunlight. No sunlight means no chlorophyll. No chlorophyll means no green color and a mild, delicate flavor. It's a big deal in Germany and across Europe. I remember my aunties used to go crazy for it every spring. So if you ever see it at a farmer's market, grab it. It's definitely worth trying. Okay, I wasn't sure if I was going to mention this, but let's talk about asparagus pea. Have you ever noticed that within about 30 minutes to several hours after eating asparagus, your pea smells a little like rotten eggs or skunk spray? Yep, it's the asparagus. It's caused by a compound called asparagusic acid, which breaks down into sulfur-containing chemicals during digestion. Here's the interesting thing. Not everyone can smell it, and not everyone produces it. So maybe you've smelt it, maybe you haven't. It's completely genetic. If you've never noticed it, consider yourself lucky and carry on. If you have noticed, there's actually not a lot we can do about it, except maybe drink a little bit more water to help dilute it. Now for the fun part. Asparagus is incredibly versatile, and I'm going to give you 4 of my favorite methods, plus a method that I really don't recommend. So, method number 1, pan steaming. If you have a steaming basket, you're good to go. If you don't have a steaming basket, simply add your asparagus to a wide pan and cover the bottom of the pan with just enough water to cover the bottom. Then bring to medium-high heat, steam for 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how thick or thin, and you're good to go. Here's an important tip. Asparagus will keep cooking once you've removed it to the heat. So a little undercooking is perfectly a-okay. That way it'll stay beautiful, bright green and not give you that gray-green color. You can also try oven roasting. Toss with a little bit of oil, salt, and pepper. Spread in a single layer on a baking sheet. Remember, don't crowd them or they'll steam instead of roast. And then into a 400-degree oven for 10 to 15 minutes, again, depending on thickness. And you'll get a little caramelization on the edges, a slight nutty flavor, and it's absolutely delicious. Another favorite method is to put your asparagus on the grill. If you have nice big spears, you can put them directly on the grill after tossing with a little bit of oil and seasoning. If you have thinner spears, put them on a perforated baking sheet and put that on the grill. Get a little bit of charring, so good. You can also cook asparagus in an air fryer. Again, toss with oil and your favorite seasoning, and then air fry at 400 degrees for about 7 to 9 minutes. You get a slightly crisp exterior, almost like roasted, but a little faster. It's great for a quick weeknight option. Now here's what I don't recommend. I do not recommend that you boil asparagus. I know it's an old school favorite method, but boiling asparagus leaches out the nutrients, flavor, and often you lose that gorgeous green color. So pan steaming would be my preferred method versus boiling. Now that you have your perfectly cooked asparagus, what are you gonna do with it? If you have lovely roasted asparagus, try it with a little bit of Parmesan, lemon juice, and maybe some pepper flakes. If you want it a little bit fancier, maybe try it with a little bit of hollandaise sauce. So good. You can find a quick, easy immersion blender hollandaise sauce in my playlist. Asparagus in a spring salad with fresh herbs, radishes, peas, or even edible flowers. heavenly. And obviously, you have to have asparagus with pasta or gnocchi. Asparagus and eggs are another perfect pairing. Try your asparagus in a frittata or omelet, or even those little egg bites. And of course, we can't forget asparagus soup. A simple blended soup comes together in about 20 minutes and is so delicious, warm, and comforting. I've linked some of my favorite asparagus recipes down below, so go check those out. If this was helpful, please give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely helps more people find this video. And let me know below, what's your favorite way to cook asparagus? Drop it in the comments, and yeah, I actually do read every single one. And do yourself a favor, subscribe and hit that bell button so you don't miss a thing about what's coming up next. Happy asparagus season!